everyone. This is Nida, and welcome to another Teen Talk edition of Homeschooling Philippines. For today's episode, we will be talking with another homeschooling teen. She recently graduated in senior high school, and now she is college bound. We'll get to know why homeschoolers are prepared for college life. So please welcome mga ka-homeschool, Carmela Haleko. Hi, Mel.
Hello. Hello po.
Kamusta na? How does it feel to finally finish high school?
Very, very relaxing na po.
Okay. So what's keeping you busy? Kasi bakasyon mo na.
Well po, during senior high, I had projects that I wanted to do, but since because of the stack of works to do for school, I wasn't able to finish it. And during this vacation, I'm slowly starting to do those projects now so that I have stuff to do while preparing for college po.
That's right. And before we go to our main topic, no, can you share with our viewers something about yourself? I mean, when did you started homeschooling? How old are you? Things like that.
Well, I started homeschooling back in 2007, so it's almost been 14 years since I've been homeschooled.
Wow.
No breaks po, as in straight 14 years. We never really decided to go outside CFA or homeschool itself because we really saw how much I progressed here better than going to regular school. And well, I'm already at when I started homeschool, I think I was around um, 9 years old or not. But now I'm turning 20 in 2 weeks. So milestone po for this to happen that I
Advance happy
finish.
birthday.
Thank you po. It's a milestone that I finished high school and grade school here in CFA and in homeschooling, which I'm very proud to say po.
Grabe, 14 years straight of
Opo.
homeschooling. But
Yes.
Mela, may we know why your family decided to homeschool you?
Because before I used to be a cancer patient. I don't remember what stage it was, but I had leukemia, and because
Okay.
of that, I had to go through chemotherapy every now and then. And because of that, when my parents would put me into regular school, it wasn't really sure that I would be able to go to school. So, but of course, in regular school, I have to attend. So my parents just decided to pull me out and I guess give me a bit of a gap year with my chemotherapy. And then my parents suddenly thought of, why not we just homeschool Mela, since we're always at home or in the hospital? We can just do it ourselves for her. So that's why my parents decided to go into homeschooling, because my dad is a stay-at-home dad. So my mom just told him, ikaw na bahala kay Mel. Ikaw na magturo sa kanya. And so that's why my parents still decided to homeschool me for 14 years.
And praise God that you are cancer free, right?
Yes po. Yes po.
Thank
For
you, Lord.
it's been what I know, 10 years or 11 years na po since
Wow.
my last chemotherapy. So thank you, Lord, for that.
Wow. Thank you, Lord. You are a miracle, Mela. Grabe.
Yes po.
So,
Thank you po.
as someone who has been homeschooled for 14 years, no, what is your
Opo.
own definition of homeschooling?
Well, for me po, as I know everyone has different definitions of homeschooling, but for me, homeschooling is basically something that really helps a child develop. Like, for example, here in homeschooling, your child or me, I get to study at my own pace. So without the pressures of school, like saying, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that immediately so you can, progress to the next grade. Here in homeschool, I think I got a better pacing for myself, so I get to discover who I am. I get to to meet new friends, get to know them better, and for me to really understood or understand what I was learning in school. So if my dad were to teach me science, instead of me just memorizing all of the body parts, I would really learn what those body parts does and do and how they function. So I think in homeschool, really, my definition for it is that here you really get to learn something instead of memorizing, which I think a lot of students are doing nowadays instead of learning.
I would agree, no. Others would just memorize, let's say, the periodic table
Yes po.
and wouldn't
Especially,
understand really what it means.
opo, especially when it comes to history po. Like, I've heard a lot of people talk about history by just memorizing it. But for me po, history is like a really huge part po in learning. And because I really learn a lot in homeschooling, I learn more about our Filipino heroes and all of those po.
Okay, balikan natin yung Filipino heroes because I know you created a game
Ah,
based
yes
on
po.
some Filipino literature.
Mythology.
Let's mythology. Okay, let's talk
Opo.
about it later, no? But
Sige
when
po.
you started, so you were 9 years old. So your primary teacher is your mom, is that right?
Oh, it's my dad po.
It's your dad. I'm sorry.
Opo.
So as you progress into high school, so did dad became the principal only or siya pa rin yung teacher mo?
Well, sa high school naman po, let's say junior high po. For the first 2 years, grade 7 to grade 8, I could say my dad was the teacher, not the principal. Principal po would be si mami po. But si dad po, until grade 8, he was my teacher because he still was able to understand what he was teaching to me. But by grade 9 to 10, a bit blurry na po for dad to understand what he was teaching me. So, what was great about CFA po is that we had teachers to teach us, so we could ask them how to understand this better. So, for grade 9 and 10, I guess independent learner na po ako instead with dad po.
Okay, so just to make it clear, no, your homeschool provider is Catholic Filipino Academy Homeschool. So
Yes
the
po.
prior to pandemic, you have teachers, so you can at least ask questions if you don't understand a certain
Opo.
topic. But at home, your primary teacher is still your dad.
Yes po, but what I'm grateful for the internet is I get to contact the teachers po even if it's the pandemic. Their emails are up there, or I could ask my advisor to get me in touch with the certain teacher, because if I ask my dad po, I'm pretty sure he's just going to tell me, search it up in the internet, it's there, the answers are there.
That's right. So you can study on your own and parang naging independent learner ka nga, no? As you progress
Yes
into
po.
high school. Okay.
Yes po.
And many parents enjoy the freedom homeschooling gives them to foster deeper relationship with their children, no? And sabi nila, it provide a positive, fun learning atmosphere. So would you say this is true for you and your dad?
Yes po. I would say that my dad really got to know me better in homeschool. Like, if I were in regular school, I don't think I would have told my dad what I really love doing, and he wouldn't also see me doing what I love. So because of homeschool, my dad really saw how I progress here, because I'm pretty sure in regular school the parents really don't see the students, how they work, how they handle stress and all of that. But here in homeschool, because the parent gets to see their children get stressed, get to know their hobbies, they really create a bond. And I could say that the same for my dad, because I love videography. That's one of my main hobbies. And I think if because of me liking videography, my dad really loves how videos are made now. They I get to tell him how they're made, how they work, how they are being filmed. And I think that creates a really strong bond between me and my dad, because I get to tell him the hobbies that I really love doing. And with regular school, I don't think I have time, because I have to focus on all of the projects they're going to toss to me. So I here in homeschooling, it really strengthens the bond between parents.
So we have a future videographer here.
Yes po.
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, you will be an incoming freshman, right?
Yes po.
So how did you prepare for college, Mela?
Well po, currently, I am going into gap year po. Pero that's my preparation po for college, because I've noticed a significant amount of college freshmen. They don't really know what they're going into. Like, I've seen a
Mhm.
lot of people, they would say, "Oh, I'm going to do this course," but I see them years later in another course. So I'm just like, what happened? What happened during that time? And then they would admit to me that they didn't really want their first course, so they had to
Yeah.
switch.
Shift and
And
shift and
yes po.
shift.
Yes po. And I know shifting is much more costly po than actually just going for the main course. So with my gap year planning po, I plan to really think about and plan what I really want to do in the future po, what course I really want. Even though I already know what course I want, I still think there is room to change or really plan which college I'm going to. And right now, actually, po, I'm also in the process of learning more about what I really like. I really love doing. So when I get into college, chances are I already know what's going to be taught there. So easy. Pero at the same time po, it's also get those workshops or what I'm going to do po are going to help me get a scholarship po in the schools that I want to go to. So it's very helpful then po. But as I said po, it's more of planning ahead because I don't want to go into college po without a clear vision or plan that this is the course I want. I don't want to shift. This is the only course I want.
All right. So for the benefit of our viewers, gap year is when you will not enter college first. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a break in your school
Yes.
setup.
Yeah.
However, you plan to enroll in workshops so
Yeah.
that it can give you a clear vision of what course you will take in
Yes.
college.
Yes po.
Okay.
Uh,
And gap year, I mean, how many years would your gap year be?
Oh, I plan for mine po to be only 1 year because I just really want to settle everything, especially around this time po of the pandemic. I know it's better to get into college because it's all virtual, but I think because of the pandemic, it's more stressful now because it's all virtual. So you don't really get to experience it, and even though it's virtual, it's also still stressful in a way. So that gap year po is just to really see how things would turn out in everything po. Not only how what I'll choose, but how the world will be around that time po.
Mm-mm. Okay. So you will take your gap year and then but I know that you have some schools already in your mind, no?
Yes
So
po.
how did you go about choosing the schools that you wanted to eventually apply in college?
Well, of course po, as I said a while ago, I already had a course in my head and in my heart. So I already knew that since JHS what I really want to take in college, and that is film because I love making films. So I first had to scout some schools that had film because there, even though there's a lot of film schools here, there are good filming schools, and so far I only saw three schools that are really professional in teaching videography or film itself. So first I scouted those schools and checked what they were offering for that course, and if I saw what met my expectations or my what I wanted to go in, I immediately said, "Oh, this is the school I'm going to," because it had everything.
Ang galing. Parang you're the first student that I encountered that said if they met their my expectations. No, ang galing kasi I mean, you're applying to that school. However, you have expectations from that school.
Opo.
And it's
Yes.
good that you research about it. So hindi yung
Yeah.
bara-bara-bay or it's just that your parents decided this for you.
Yes
Here,
po.
since you were an independent learner when you were homeschooling, so when you enter college, it will be your own decision. It will be
Yes
your
po.
own set of expectations as well.
Yes po. Yes, because when I was initially when I was scouting for colleges, I was just randomly like, "Oh, I want to be an MMA student." That's immediately what I thought of. But then I decided to see what's under the MMA course po. None there met what I wanted to learn in college po, or what I really wanted to go into. So then somebody told me, maybe you should go into the film course. And then I decided to see what was under the film course. And I saw that everything they were teaching there was actually what I wanted to learn in college. Because I also believe po that college is somewhere where you expand what you love doing more, instead of like, oh, I need to go to college because I need to get work. I need to get my diploma so I could work. For me po, college is more, I want to go into college so I can learn more about this. Ganun po ang college for me.
Ang galing, no? You wanted to go to college because you wanted to expand more what you
Yes
love
po.
doing. Ang
Yes.
galing. That's great. And so I know that you have film in your heart.
Yes
That's the
po.
course that you wanted to take, no? But how did you know what you will be pursuing in college? I mean, film. How did you know that that is it? That is what you really want?
Well, before po, actually, it's not really my initial course that I wanted or what I really wanted to do po in the future. At first, I wanted to become a businesswoman, which I think I still want to be po, but right now it's not really on the top of my head. What I really want to become is a filmmaker. The reason why I wanted to become a filmmaker is because I saw how much films impact people in a way. Like, example, I release people will release a film about historical events, and we really get to see people like tune in. Like, for example, General Luna, I don't think a lot of people knew about who General Luna was until the film was released, which inspired me the most because I never thought that that could have an impact in the Filipinos to see that, oh, we had this general that was like this. And even me, I didn't see that in my history book. So when I saw that film, that was like a huge impact to me. Like, wow, I never knew we had this general. This is amazing. So I applaud the people who made that film for making an impact like that. And for me po, I really want to make the same impact to make people see more. And right now po, what my target is about mental health. Like, I want people to know more about mental health than what is generally known about it po.
Okay, so you mentioned General Luna, and I think there's one coming up. I often see some ads about 13.
Opo, yes po. There's an upcoming movie about it. I'm excited for that as well po.
So it's great that you wanted to be be a filmmaker because you wanted to impact people's lives, no?
Yes po.
Of course, when you start to enter college, you mentioned that you have some schools already. You research some schools, but how will you deal with the pressure of being accepted into a good college? Kasi when they say, you wanna be a filmmaker, you should go in this school. So,
Yes.
are there any pressure, or if none, if you encounter some pressure, how will you handle it?
Well, yes po, I've encountered a lot of pressure po when it came to film. Like, a lot of people would tell me immediately, why don't you go to Benil? That's immediately the like first school for film, everything arts, go there. But for me po, same with UP, they would tell me, go to UP, there's everything is there. But for me po, it's more of I guess I want, besides Benil, of course, being so expensive po, and for you people, the exam is very hard. I think for me po, the pressure was I didn't want to go to those schools because there are other schools that had the options that I wanted, which, for example po, one school that I was scouting for was Mint Academy because I heard their filming there is also amazing. So I said, why not there? And of course, I encounter a lot of people saying, Mint? What's that? What's that school? I've never heard of it. Unlike if you say Benilde or UP, they would immediately be like, oh, Benilde, UP. Wow, great choices. But for me po, I don't really mind what the title of the school is. As long as I get to learn in that school, that's fine for me. If I get into Benilde or UP po, that's also fine for me. But for now, what are the options that I can only go into? That's what I immediately choose. So, for example, yun nga po, Mint Academy was easily accessible than Benilde and UP.
Okay. And were there ever times wherein you doubted the course that you wanted to pursue? So right now you wanted to be in the filmmaking industry, but how did you go about really deciding that that is the course that you wanted to pursue? Were there some times that you doubted, parang hindi yata ako dito?
Yes po, I did. Well, not really my own self po that said, "Oh, this is not the course I wanted." It's more of people's perception po. It was like, you're when you go into that course, will you really get a job? Will you, find something to do while you're in that course? So of course po, in my mind that gets in, and they immediately my mind would be like, is this the right thing we're doing? Is this the right course you're choosing? Maybe we should really just become a businesswoman. But still po, even though I hear a lot of those and I doubt myself po in the course, in the course that I was choosing, I still am pushing for what I believe and I want. And because in this generation po, really, what's much better? Being forced to work at a job you don't like, or working at the job you actually like po. I think that's much better than being forced into a job that you don't like. As my dad said, he doesn't want a doctor to do surgery on him if the doctor doesn't want to become a doctor in the first place. So I highly agree with that statement from my dad. I don't want to be forced to become a businesswoman and work under the pressure if I really didn't want that from the start. So even though there's a lot of doubts, I will still push forward with what I plan for.
That's right, no? Push so that you can achieve the dream, no? That
Yes
you
po.
wanted.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes po.
But would you say, Mela, that homeschoolers are also prepared for college? I mean, can homeschool student adapt to college life as well as your traditionally schooled peers? Parang, what are the things that you've done to get better prepared for your next stage of education, which is college?
I think homeschoolers are prepared already for college because, as I said a while ago, we are already independent learners. And as I heard from my friends and my ates and kuyas about college, is that they learn independently. So I think for homeschoolers, this will just be, I guess, a walk in the park because we already study independently. And even though we already have teachers who teach us our lessons, it's still going to be on us on how we learn this lessons that we are going to take, and what the course will teach us in college. So basically po, it's more of the independent learning. We are ready for it po.
That's right. Homeschoolers learn to become an independent
Yes
learner.
po.
So that's
Yes po.
one. Any other sharing that you would, any other tip that you would like to share?
Well, also, because homeschooling is on our own pace kind of school, it also gives us a time to really reflect or see the possible ra- um courses we want in college, rather than just last minute be like, oh, I want to become a doctor, but you already graduated from, I guess, let's say po, you graduated from ABM and then you became a doctor. Para like that po, at least in homeschool, because it's our on our own pace, we get to really think what we really want for the future. As like me po, I got to develop my hobbies, so when I developed them, I immediately thought, oh, this is where I'm going for in the future, and I already saw the path how to go there po.
And it's good, no, because in homeschooling, you have your own, you study on your own,
Opo.
and you have your own pace. So you have all the time to reflect what
Opo.
is the course that I really wanted to pursue in college. Kasi
Opo.
others, I've met others who is in the middle of the application for college, and they don't know what course to write on
Yes
the
po.
application, and then they would just ask their parents, mommy or daddy, what course will I put here? So it's the parents
Yes po.
deciding instead for the children deciding for
Yes.
themselves, right?
Yes po. Yes, I've also encountered people like that po, that they had a plan po, but like in the middle of, I guess, their school year, they would suddenly say, I don't like this. I want to shift. So it's kind of like the shift usually po, it's usually their plan or their parents' plan. So I think in homeschooling you get to grasp what you really want. So instead of shifting or asking your parents, hey, what should I get, um here you really get to know what you want. Like for example, for me po, my dad didn't pick filming for me, I was the one who picked that for myself po.
Okay, so you mentioned that you've become an independent learner, so you are better prepared for college. And you also said that homeschooling allows you to study on your own pace, so you have all the time to reflect. What
Yes.
course would you take in college? So any other things that you've done to better prepare you for the next stage of your education?
Um, so far right now, none po. But as I said, I am now doing workshops to prepare myself for, I guess, college. But in these workshops, there's a probability I might actually find work already. So if I get that opportunity, I would immediately jump into it rather than just saying, "Oh no, this is not part of my plan." If it comes to me, I will get it immediately, and I know the Lord has plans naman for me. So if He gives it to me, I take it immediately po.
And what type of workshops are you getting into?
Some videography workshops po, which there are a couple of workshops that I know will give out diplomas already po for
Oh.
being in the workshop. So if I ever get a chance po to do that, then maybe in the long run I might not get into college, but I'm still that's still in my plans po college. So the even though if I get a diploma, it's up to me po if I want to still pursue college or not. But if I get a diploma, then so much the better po.
So parang let's see where the Lord will lead you.
Yes po.
And any expectations in this gap year that you will be doing? Because you're the first teen that I have interviewed that mentioned about gap year. Most of the teens that I interviewed would immediately go to college. So, what are your thoughts about it? I mean, are you excited? Do you have some doubts? Do you have some fears?
Well, fears po, a lot of fears because a lot of people would probably tell me, why not? Why are you missing the opportunity of going to college? Like take the opportunity that it's all virtual now. Maybe next year you need to go to school, which I don't think po that's possible right now. But even though I hear a lot of those stuff po, I'm still planning on what I'm still continuing what I plan po because I already know what would happen po if I don't do this. So even though there's a lot of doubts, I believe in myself and in God po that the path that I'm taking will lead me to what I really originally planned po. So even though it's scary po, especially because I'm expected to to go to college na po, I believe pa rin po in what God has planned for me po.
I just remember Brother Bo in one of his talks, sabi niya, doing it afraid, no? Even if
Opo,
you're
yes.
afraid, but I can see that no one can persuade what you have decided, no? I know you're
Opo.
scared, but still you believe that this is what the Lord would want you to do, and you will continue. Hats off
Yes
to you,
po.
Mela, and we're praying for you, no? Na
Yes po.
for this gap year, no? But some parents would ask, do homeschoolers have a broad enough view of the real world? I mean, street smarts ba sila with exposure of different people and views? Syempre, di ba, pag nag-college na or pag nag-workshop ka, you'll meet a lot of people with different beliefs, different opinions. Would you say that homeschoolers are ready for it?
Yes po. I think for me po, in my experience po, I have met a lot of friends po that are in regular school, and for me po, I feel like homeschoolers are more no offense to the regular schoolers, but I feel like homeschoolers are more street smart than them because we really, as I said po, we study at home, so everywhere is um our learning ground. So it could be in the coffee shop, it could be in the mall, it could be in the car, anywhere po. So I think homeschooler get to grasp more knowledge in the outside world than a regular school student who before the pandemic is just inside the school. We are outside. I mean, when I was still able to go to school, I would literally learn how to commute, and there was an opportunity or a time po that me and my friend, kaming dalawa lang po, no parent with us, had to commute going home, and I usually commute with my dad. So I guess with a little bit of real life things po, I was able to commute with her going home. And I think po, homeschoolers has more grasp on the real world than regular schools. I can just see it po right now with my friends, with my classmates, with me myself po. I can see that we're ready with whatever is being thrown at us po.
So in homeschooling, 'di ba, everywhere or every situation is learning experience
Yes
for
po.
you. No,
Yes
and
po.
I guess kahit na nasa loob kayo ng sasakyan, it's road schooling for you and your
Yes po.
dad, right?
Yes po. True po. Especially when we go on road trips, my dad would just point out, "Oh, Mela, do you know that? This is like that." It's like that po. And I think even in like elementary school, I think they would enjoy homeschool more because the parents could actually bring them outside and point to the many stuff around them, like, "Oh, you see that? That's this kind of plant. This is kind of plant." And you get to learn more po in homeschooling because you get to be free more.
I agree. And college life is quite different from high school, Mela, no? So
Opo.
any last tip for your fellow teens who will be stepping into an unknown zone called college life?
Well, my tips for those teens is that don't be afraid. It's scary. Yes, it's adult life, but I think senior high has prepared you for the horrors of college in a sense, but it's not scary. It's just you're going in there to learn more about what you want to learn. It's not something that will like, oh, you go to college, oh, here's work, and you go into immediately corporate.
So you meant, I believe that in your senior high school year, you were able to create a game, a
Yes po.
card game.
Yes
Can you
po.
discuss about it, Bella?
So actually this is the great thing about senior high that I think I've encountered being in senior high. We were given an opportunity to create our own mini company, which in the long run, actually I could say that it helped me more in business than actually learning about business more. It's like a real life situation thing po. So we get to handle the business on our own independently. So imagine that po, a bunch of senior high students making their own company. Parang that's kind of funny to look at po, pero at the same time, it's kind of impressive. So, during senior high, we created a company called Malikhain. And Malikhain itself is a company comprised of many senior high students. I think there's around 30 of us po. So, of course, we had our own corporate, we had our own employees, we had CEO, a corporate secretary, and an HR. All of that po. And our company, Malikhain, produced the product, Alamad, which is our very own card game, this is actually what's pretty cool about our card game. It's made from scratch. It's literally on our own product. We made the mechanics, we made how the cards and the game would look like, how it will be played, which is really cool because none of us po has knowledge in making board games or card games in general. So can you imagine that a bunch of high school students, senior high students, thinking, oh, how are we gonna place this card? How are we going to what is this card going to do? All of that. And I think for me po, it's a real life situation. I can imagine game developers being like that, and us, the senior high student, got an opportunity to actually experience that po. We even got to experience like the stress of a company po. Like, how are we going to have it produced? Where are we going to get the funds? Who are our manufacturers? All of that po. And I think for me po, it's kind of impressive that I got to experience business life without even going to business course or having my own business po. So yes po, we created a game called Alamad. It's a Filipino mythology card game, and it's a really impressive product made by our company.
Wow, I'm really impressed. Parang gusto kong bumili and see.
it's
So
it's
if
really it's really impressive po, tita. It's like ako rin po, I was shocked by my own company.
people would like to have a copy or get that card game, where can they buy it, Mela?
You can go to our Facebook page, malikhain.ph. There, it's just there, and we have the order link. You can just click that and order yourself a copy of Alamat.
So what was your experience? I mean, what role did you play in that company?
I was a corporate secretary po. So actually corporate secretary in the first half and eventually became CEO because our previous CEO had to step down po for personal reasons po. Pero yun po, I get to experience being a right-hand man of the CEO and then becoming a CEO myself po, which was kind of a roller coaster ride because I'm not for me po, I'm not really a CEO material. I don't see myself as one, but I guess because I was given the chance to become one, I took the opportunity and I say po it's not an easy job. I can see why corporate people are really serious when it comes to business. It's not easy. You could turn into a completely different person po in corporate.
So you have to source the funds, you need to call the manufacturers, you made the mechanics from scratch. So how long did it take you to finish the product?
Um, well, when did we start? I think we started around the start of school year, so that was around August po. And we were actually pretty impressive po. We were able to make the game by late October po, and the game was made the final product with the box and everything po was finished around November po. So we also
Wow.
got our stocks po around November. So everything was in speed, and in December we started selling the product na po. And um thank you Lord, we got like beyond our expected sales po for the product, which we really didn't expect po when we were creating it, especially because as I said po, this is a made from scratch game. So we really don't know what the people will expect because there are a lot of competitors out there po that have more successful games. So when we created this, we were like, um, our expectations maybe low, maybe high, but we had pretty low expectations po. But when people were telling us about the game, our expectations went a little bit higher po because we never really expected it to become really known.
Well, congratulations for coming up with a great idea, no?
Yes
Card
po.
game with Filipino mythology. Ang galing.
Yes po.
So, guys, you can check the Facebook page, malikhain.ph. And I'm sure your kids, no? This can be a good bonding moment with you playing this card game.
Yes po. It's you should try it for yourself if you want to learn how to play the game because I myself, even though I have played the game, I can't explain it just by this virtual.
Yes, it's better if you have the card with you, no, and
Yes
play
po.
it. So get
Yes po.
one and check their page, malikain.ph. So what's the difference between junior and senior high? May difference ba?
Opo. For me po, I guess kasi I also came from a different advisor din po. I grew up with Tita Bebet po as my second mother po. So parang nakakaiba lang po mag-switch to senior high kasi ibang advisor na naman po. And I guess you could say po na sa junior high, parang dun po I really had the kid fun, high school fun po, yung mga ganun po. So senior high is more of the professional fun na po. So anything I do in senior high, it's more professional. And I guess po mas stressful po than junior high. Like when I immediately after grade 11 po, me and Don po, we were immediately saying, sana pala pinagbutihan ko yung junior high. Ang dali pa nun versus senior high kasi po sa senior high, even though it's something we like doing po there. It's parang yun nga po, as I said, it's being pressured to you. So medyo hindi na po fun. Unlike sa junior high, there's a lot of fun things to do there po. So kaya po nagustuhan ko talaga yun.
Mm-mm. I can't believe you're already 20, tama ba?
Opo,
Ang
next week
grabe,
po opo.
next week.
Opo.
Welcome to adulting, Carmela.
Ayaw. Ayaw po eh.
Grabe.
I'm ready for it naman po, pero yun nga po, adulting na po.
Oo, adulting ka na talaga.
Opo.
Grabe. Ready na ba
Opo.
ang tatay mo sa adult life mo?
Inamin niya pa rin po sa'kin na hindi po siya makapaniwala na adult na ako, pero yun po, slowly niya na po ina-accept na nag-a-adult na po ako. Parang 'pag iniwan niya po ako sa bahay, parang feeling ko po teen pa po ako na mga 2 hours lang dapat po ako iniiwanan dito. Pero nowadays po, I told my dad, "Dad, you can leave me like for a long time 'cause
Oo,
I'm already
oo.
20 years old, kaya ko na, and if independent learner ako, I can also live independently na rin." Pero as I said po, since I'm daddy's girl po, technically hindi pa rin po talaga ako ma-let go ni dad. Feeling niya pa rin po little girl pa rin po ako even though I'm
Yes.
turning 20 po next
Yes,
week.
yes. That's how parents work, no?
Opo.
Not only your dad, but the
Opo.
majority of the parents cannot really let go of their little child.
Opo.
Parang sa tingin namin, you're still this the little girl, no, that who
Opo.
needs protection, that we need to take
Opo.
care of. But of course, we need to step back, no, from time to
Opo.
time and assess, remind ourselves na, hey, this is a growing lady now. We need to give her
Opo.
the space and the time that she needs, no, to grow
Opo.
further so that you can achieve more. I wish you well dun sa pag-film
Yes po.
film course mo.
Opo.
Have you checked those diploma courses for the film?
Oh, right now po I'm scouting kasi some of them just open po now, which I'm
Mm-mm.
I'm surprised nga po they're opening at the same time as school year. So parang they're really promoting it po as an alternative to college na po talaga.
Mm-mm.
Pero
Mm-mm.
I've for so far po I've seen a few. I might go into it by this week po and check out how those work, and we'll see po what will happen in the long run.
Mm-mm.
But during this gap year po, that's the only thing I'm just going to do po. Chances are I
Mm-mm.
might even get a scholarship po in one of the workshops na, uy, you want a scholarship to this school? Ito na.
We're praying for that, no?
Yes
For
po.
that
Yes po.
scholarship. Pero how did you come up with the decision that you will be on a gap year? I mean, were you influenced or you have read that before?
Um, I've seen people po do gap year po. I've actually the thing when I said po that I'm only going to college because I want to learn more. I've actually met quite a lot of people po who are like that. They did a gap year po. Actually, sa kanila niya po yung gap year nila is way longer than what I planned po. Sila po usually 5 years, and I'm like, naka-gap year
Wow.
po kayo for 5 years? Ano po ginagawa niyo? Gusto ko rin po malaman. And what I heard po from those people, they did go into workshops po. They themselves did their own work po, their own jobs. So, and then when they're, even though they already learned a lot po sa workshops nila or so what they do po, they still went into college po. And when I asked them, why did you go into college again? I thought you already knew a lot. They said that we just want to expand our knowledge even more sa college kasi there are some stuff siguro na we didn't learn sa workshops na baka makita namin sa college. Pero I'm hearing po from those people again na when they got into college po, the things that were taught to them po, they already
You
knew about
already
it.
knew,
So,
yeah.
so I was like so impressed. So I was like, so if I go into workshops, chances are I'm also going to be like this po. So pero yeah, I have a lot of inspiration. I got a lot of inspiration po from some people. One of the people po I got inspiration from was Ate Jewel po kasi she does independent work na po, and then yun nga po, she didn't pursue college po, and I was so inspired by her po na I was like, my dad even said, oh Mela, it's your inspiration. So I was really inspired by her story po na she didn't go to college na po because she wanted to pursue what she really loves doing. And sabi ko, I told my dad that's what I plan to do in the long run, and uh, trust me that I will prove you wrong dun sa mga doubts mo. I will be like that.
What was the first thing that your dad told you when you advised him that you'll do a gap year?
Actually po, surprisingly, my dad was calm. I didn't expect it niya rin po na he was going to be calm about it po. Pero what my dad really just wanted for me po is to do what I love doing. And throughout the years, I've shown him na I love doing film, and progressively got better at doing it po. As I said po, I made a film which from making this short, small videos of my traveling, my road trips, ganun po, to making a full-length film. Parang my dad saw, anyari? How did you jump from that? So, naturally po, I thought my dad would be like, why aren't you going into college? Why don't you do that? But I immediately presented him po then what my plan was going to be with the workshops and everything po. I was telling him that, um, look, dad, this is what before you say anything about my gap year, here's what I planned during that gap year. And when he saw that plan naman po, I think besides that he was already okay with it, it solidified that it was really okay for it to happen po.
So it's good that your dad supported you with your decision,
Opo,
no?
opo.
Mm.
It's
And I think
very,
ever since he is very supportive of you.
yes po. Ever since niya po, especially po when we created the Malikhain company po, he was like so surprised niya po na I would jump into a business opportunity. He was like, Mela, you don't do this. How did you think of going into this? So when I said to him, Dad, this is my position, he was like, what a position? Can you really handle that position? Parang nga po na bigla po niya si dad nung first I became a corporate secretary, pero I told him, don't worry about it. I'll get there. And yun nga po, supportive pa rin po siya on that.
Oo. And 'di ba ang gap year is not what do you call it? It's not the normal path that
Opo.
senior high school would take, no? It's
Yes
not
po.
um it will not a lot of students will not take on that gap year. Parang hindi
Yes
siya
po.
masyadong kilala, no?
Opo.
When we say gap year, we usually hear it from students abroad.
Opo.
So, what were your relatives saying about it? I mean, if they would matter. I mean, pinressure
Um,
ka ba nila? Did you hear any pressure from your teachers, from your advisors?
well, actually po, to be honest po, when I got into senior high, I mean, I thought po niya na senior high would help in a way po for college kasi when senior high, the K to 12 program came in po, my dad immediately told me na this program is for, po, yung you're not really sure what you're going to take in college. Kasi po, as I said, as you can see po sa senior high, we have the strands, which is kind of like courses na rin po. So parang, it gives us an view what we'll encounter in college. So when my dad told me about K to 12, I was like, oh, then I have a lot of time to think pala because when I get into senior high, there's a chance na I might, not need to take college anymore. And my immediate thought was gap year. So, yun po talaga naisip ko when I heard about senior high. So, it wasn't really um, something that wasn't here already po. But for my relatives po, they were kind of hesitant. Actually, they were already hesitant po with the course that I was choosing po. They were like, as I said po, there are people who said, you're not
They would
going
say, may
to,
pera ba dyan?
opo, yes po. Yan po yung pinakaunang thing na narinig ko po sa nila. And for me naman po, I know it doesn't look like there is, pero actually po, what I really like about Miss Maita po, she showed the statistics po of work po na yon during the pandemic. And besides po doctors that have have yung job po, she also showed for commercials po, yung mga commercials po, yung mga video commercials. She showed that during the pandemic, a significant amount of companies look for videographers, film editors, or mga editors po mismo to edit their commercials because as I said po, there's a pandemic. So what's the best way to show off your product? Commercials. So
Yes.
I said to myself, wow, so na yun, everyone is telling me na, before everyone was telling me, wala kang pagkikitaan dyan. Sorry na lang po, I saw that this in the statistics po, in research statistics, we're needed po. Pero yeah, a lot of my relatives po were already against my course po. And then when they heard about my gap year, mas lalo po sila naging in defense, and they said, why aren't parang you're wasting your time just being in a gap year, why not go to college? Pero right now po in the pandemic, it's medyo blurry din po what could happen in the future talaga. So even though my doubts po sila, I'm still continuing it.
Oo, kahit na hindi siya popular sa Philippines,
Opo.
no?
Opo.
Oo. Pero I've seen naman na nag-research ka, hindi lang ito parang you decided on it just this year. I mean, you have
Opo.
read about it, you have researched about it, and it's good
Opo.
that you have statistics to prove you that there are still work available for filmmakers, no?
Opo. Opo. Especially this time po, I'm surprised nga po there's a lot being made po for films. Like I thought the pandemic would really stop films from being produced. Pero I'm surprised po there's still a lot. Like even indie films po, there are
Mm-mm.
still being made. So I was like, oh, so this is not the end of the story of what I want to do. And
Yes.
especially nga po for commercials, editing po is still a big thing. So even if it's not film, at least I still get to do editing, which I also really love doing. So ganun po yung naiisip ko during this time po.
Pero what do you tell them? I mean, yung mga nega people around you that, oh, walang pera dyan. Oh, you need to go to college. What do you usually tell them?
I usually tell them po na not to worry. Not to worry, it's my life naman. I am the one who's deciding for it. And also because I usually tell them po the statistics that my teacher presented to me. And I also tell them that this is what I like doing. If I get into a job that I don't like doing, in the long run, you'll see me exiting that course immediately because I didn't want to be in that course in the first place. So even though po na it's going to be blurry po to find a job, I still believe in it po. Actually, one of my inspiration po is my cousin po, Kuya Kirk. He makes videos po for an airline po. So he inspired me the most. In if it weren't for him po, actually I don't think I would also be into films, because when he showed me what he does, I was like, also there's a job like this. I didn't know about that. And right now nga po, my dad's still wondering how he survived during the pandemic, pero it seems po he's still stable pa rin naman po, and he has the same jobs that I actually want for myself in the future po. So when usually po the relatives that doubt me are from my mom's side of the family po. So I just tell them, look at my relative from the other side of the family. He's still pretty well off. So what do you mean I won't find a job? As in po, like there was one time nga po, I remembered one of my cousins po from my mom's side of the family. She was watching one of her favorite bloggers with Insta story po. And then she spotted my cousin, my Kuya Kirk, in the back of that vlogger po. And she was like, siya nag-edit ng videos ng favorite vlogger ko. And I was like, yes! See, I told you. there is there's a chance for me to have work right
Yes.
now. Yes po.
Oo.
So that also, proves to them na it's possible nga to have a job for someone like me, in
Mm-mm.
especially right now po. I've been hearing a lot of people who are in need of editors po. So especially po si dad, kailangan niya po ng editor for his school videos.
That's right. Kaming mga hindi millennials we need help,
Opo.
no? For editing our videos.
Opo.
And I can see that you are very well equipped and you are very ready to enter
Yes.
college.
Yes po.
So we pray for your dreams and your goals. And parents, if your teen is in charge of most of the learning while they are in high school and being generally successful, then you can feel certain that they are being well prepared for college, no? Let them be an independent learner, katulad ng nabanggit ni Mela, no? By junior high, make sure that you teach them how to manage their time, no?
Yes.
I guess that's the number one ingredient as well, Mela, that you were
Yes po.
successful in your homeschooling journey because you manage your time really well.
Yes. Yes po. Time management is really important, especially in homeschooling, because in the long run, it will help you in adult situations. Time management is everything.
All right. Thank you, Mela, for sharing your story. I know
Thank you
that
din po.
a lot of teens were blessed by your sharing. Guys, if you want to know more homeschooling stories, you can check the book, Welcome to My Humble Homeschool. Secrets of Successful Homeschooling Teens. This book will help teens how to navigate homeschool in high school. It will also provide practical information to have a successful homeschool experience. So see you on the next episode, mga ka-homeschool. God bless everyone. Thank you, Mela.
Thank you din po. Bye.
Ayan, bye.